Hi guys, welcome back to Balls Fan TV, and today we're back with another video of the match reaction to last night's 1-1 draw against Derry City at the Brandywell. Look, it's a result I probably would have took before the game. Yeah, the performance overall, we probably know we can play better, but yeah, look, we always knew it was going to be a hard one on that pitch, the way that we play. We'd like to get the ball down and play, but yeah, we knew it was going to be a tough task on that pitch, and that proved to be right. The first half, we didn't really get any sort of rhythm going. We were quite direct, the ball was just bouncing everywhere, and it was quite a scrappy first half. Derry probably had the better of the chances. They had a few opportunities. Duffy had one that went wide, and Casper had to make a couple of saves, and yeah, eventually they found the goal then just before half time. It's Yemi with the header. It's poor enough defending. We could probably do a bit better to deal with the cross, but yeah, it was a sucker punch really, especially before half time. We were still in the game even though we weren't really doing anything. But yeah, the first half was quite poor. It was a poor game of football really overall. Both teams didn't really get any sort of rhythm going. Like I said, it was so hard to play football on that pitch. It's just an absolute disgrace, if we're being honest. We all knew that, heading into it. But look, second half, we were marginally better. Rossi gets the goal then. It's a good finish. He's there to put it in, and yeah, look, that kind of kicked us into life a little bit after that. And yeah, look, we kind of had a little spell, 10-15 minutes where we were looking a bit sharper, but Derry kind of grew into it then in the later stages. They had more of the ball. They weren't really creating any chances, but they put a couple of dangerous balls into the box. There was a header that went narrowly wide, and they had probably slightly the better of things, but they weren't really causing major problems. And yeah, the 1-1 draw was how it ended. And yeah, look, I mean, it's not the worst result in the world. It still leaves us in a good position. We're still ahead of them in the league. We've gained a point, and it was very important that we didn't come out of there with a loss. If we'd have lost the game, it would have been obviously a whole lot worse. In terms of you'd be looking at that draw of the game now, thinking right, that's a must win. But the fact that we managed to get the point in the end is good, and I'm delighted for Ross Tierney as well. I think he's needed that goal. His performance is probably haven't been at the level that maybe we can get to, but I thought last night was very good. You can see in the celebration as well that he really that goal meant a lot to him, and that that he's been really pushing hard for that. And yeah, I thought his overall performance was very good last night. There was a few others as well that I thought were good. I thought Lee Cavanagh and Kane Byrne, apart from their goal maybe, I thought he dealt with everything quite well. And yeah, look, I mean, it wasn't the best of games. We said that at the start. On that pitch, it's really, really hard to get the ball down and play football. Especially when the weather is really dry. Reynolds said it after the match as well that the pitch hadn't been watered beforehand, and it's so hard on that pitch. But look, we've come away with a point. It's in a place that it's a difficult place to go. Not many teams go there and get results. So look, we can be happy to come away with a point, and yeah, we go into that draw of the game next week now, and we're at home, and if you can get 3 points there, I think it makes last night's result even better. But yeah, look, like I think we said it in the preview, if you could just come away from here with a result, with a draw at least, I think we could all take that, and move on then. Look, like we said, we're still in a good position. We're still second in the table. We're 10 points ahead of Pats now in 6th. We really should be looking at being able to to claim that European spot through the league, and yeah, look, overall really, yeah, I thought we responded quite well from a pretty disappointing first half. We knew it was going to be a challenge going up there with the pitch and everything, but look, I thought we done reasonably well. We probably could have maybe gone for the game a little bit more in the second half when it was there for us right after we scored. But look, it is what it is. You come away with the draw, and then we move into the draw of the game now next week, and yeah, look, obviously probably more eventful off the pitch than on the pitch last night. Yeah, look, I mean, don't really understand the whole culture around going to matches and looking for fights and stuff like that. Look, I know both fans were at it, our fans were at it before the game, and the Derry fans were at it after the game, but look, there's no room for any of that kind of stuff in football, I think. But yeah, look, on the pitch anyway, we come away with the draw, and we come into another big game now next week against Drogheda, where hopefully we'll get the 3 points there. So yeah, that's where I'll end it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment down below what you thought about the game, and I'll see you for the preview for the Drogheda game during the week. Bye bye.